Oh boy, do we have a lot to discuss tonight, my friends. Hi there, Carson Meredith with you. It is almost 8:10 on this cold Sunday night. Hopefully, a lot of you have the day off tomorrow for Martin Luther King Jr. Day because it's going to be very cold for the holiday. Nobody wants to get out on a cold morning, but obviously the big focus is what lies ahead. Heading into next weekend, we have gone ahead and put alert days out for parts of next weekend, really just to give you guys that first alert of the general time frame that we're watching for next weekend. A lot is still going to change. You're not going to still hear a lot of specifics from me tonight when it comes to exact timing, when it comes to amounts, when it comes to impacts. We just kind of want to get that messaging out there a little more. There's going to be something out there as we get towards next weekend. We just got to figure out exactly what might be on the way. But let's start off with where we're at tonight. Live look at downtown. Clouds have filtered back in after a lot of sunshine earlier today. And that's keeping the temperatures from dropping too quickly, which is, I guess, a good thing. 27's our current temperature. And that wind is now out of the south, which most of the time would mean a warmer night. That's not the case tonight, obviously. It feels more like 18 at the moment. And we are tracking some flurries as expected across southern Indiana. It's not a lot. It's not going to be enough to cause any big travel issues for our friends up in the Hoosier State. But you do notice at least a pocket of flurries up across Du Bois, Orange, and Lawrence counties. This is all thanks to a system that's rolling through the Great Lakes this evening. If you're watching the NFL playoff game in Chicago right now, they've had some snow throughout that game. That's thanks to that same system. So a few of those flurries will scoot their way through southern Indiana over the next couple of hours. I think by midnight tonight, we'll be done with those flurries. And it's just all about the cold. Our forecast low temperature tonight is 18 degrees. So actually not as cold tomorrow morning compared to what we had earlier this morning. But even so, the teens are not fun when it comes to those temperatures. But it's going to feel much worse when you factor in that wind. We're still going to have a persistent breeze with us around 10 miles an hour, maybe getting closer to 15, 20 miles an hour at times. So that's what it's really going to feel like if you do have to venture out early in the morning. It's going to feel more like the single digits again, similar to this morning. I think here in Louisville, we'll bottom out with that wind chill around 5 degrees. But you notice up towards Jasper, Bedford, Seymour, and Paoli, we could see those numbers near zero. So be very, 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 very careful if you got to be out early on Monday. Quick look at the temperatures and wind chill trend for the holiday tomorrow. Our forecast actual temperature is 24, but those wind chills will struggle to make it into the low teens, even during that warmest part of the day. On Monday. So if you got to be out for an extended stretch, just make sure you're dressed in layers. You got all the heavy coats, the hats, the gloves, the scarves. It's not frostbite territory necessarily, but you still need to be careful if you're going to be out for an extended stretch tomorrow. And we'll basically do this all over again on Tuesday. But we keep things quiet for the early part of the week. After that, oh boy, here we go. Here's where things stand at the moment on the big board, I suppose. Tonight, we mentioned those flurries moving across southern Indiana. No issues at all. Wednesday, we are still tracking that chance for at least a light wintry mix I'll briefly mention that Wednesday system since it technically is the next system we're watching before we even get to next weekend. But all in all, it looks to be a minor thing at this point for Wednesday. You see, Saturday and Sunday are highlighted for an alert day. I'm not ready to say at all that this is going to be a winter storm for us. There will be a winter storm somewhere. Will it be here? It's possible, but it's not a sure bet just yet. Regardless of how big this storm is going to be, I do feel confident enough that we will have some sort of impacts from that system next weekend. So that's why we've gone ahead with the alert day for next weekend. And then as we get towards the 28th and 29th, there's more indications that we may have some more mischief to contend with. But let's focus on briefly Wednesday, and then we'll spend a lot of our time tonight talking about this weekend. So here's Wednesday. This is the European model. So I switched up the models from what I showed you last night. And quite honestly, guys, there's not a ton different from what I showed you last night. It's still going to be a quick moving system. It's still going to be a system that has decent moisture, but not a ton. And it's going to be, it looks as though, a back and forth kind of a setup where, depending on the timing, if the moisture moves in early Wednesday, it's still cold enough. It could start off as snow or at least a mix. And then as we try to warm up before the cold front moves through, we could see a little bit of rain. And then as the cold air, or the cold front rather, moves in and out of our area, that moisture may turn back to snowflakes. So we might be doing a lot of back and forth when it comes to the moisture type, the precipitation type, I should say, for Wednesday. Still doesn't look like a ton of moisture. I'll tell you, the GFS still kind of has a boom scenario. If you're watching us last night, we spent a lot of time talking about that. So we may get some light accumulations in that particular scenario, but I'm not overly concerned about Wednesday at this time. There could still be maybe enough for a coating, especially down across Kentucky where there's going to be a little more moisture to work with. But all in all, this should just be a minor wintry mix going back and forth between rain and snow. Wednesday, we get into Wednesday night, early Thursday. It will be colder, but we should be drying things out. So just kind of a little bump in the road before we get to the big show next weekend. Alert days are up. For now, the alert day is for the second half of Saturday, so Saturday afternoon and evening, more so Saturday evening, as well as all of next Sunday. So why did we pick that time frame initially? Well, that's mainly because that's where we're seeing the most consensus when it comes to the timing of this potential winter storm rolling through. And to be clear, it's still a potential winter storm for us. It's not a slam dunk yet. There's a lot of question marks, What we can say with this system is we are going to see some sorts of wintry weather. Does that mean snow? Perhaps. Does that mean ice? Perhaps. But there's even a scenario out there, albeit not a high likelihood, but there is a scenario where some of you just see a cold rain. I'll tell you that cold rain potential is lower today compared to earlier this week, which is part of the reason why we've gone with the alert day. We're becoming more confident we'll see some sort of wintry weather next weekend. But there's a lot of questions when it comes to timing. There's a lot of questions when it comes to temperatures. And those temperatures will obviously be critical when it comes to what kind of winter weather we see, snow, ice, what have you. There's still some timing issues that we got to nail down. Some models are still a little faster to where we might start to see trouble as early as Friday night or Saturday. Most, however, kind of focusing on that Saturday night into Sunday window at this moment. I do think accumulations are certainly on the table, which obviously means some travel issues contend with as well. So I am going to show you a future cast model here. This is a huge disclaimer. This is one model. This is the European model I'm going to show you. This is one model's idea. There are a ton of other ideas out there. So don't take this as gospel. It's just one idea that we are going to be looking at over the next 6 days, I guess. So here we go. This is 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Now, before we get to Saturday afternoon, we are going to have an Arctic front, it looks like, moving in Friday. Okay. Could there be some precipitation with that Arctic front? Yes. But that's kind of up in the air too. Remember, we don't usually have a lot of moisture when it comes to Arctic fronts. But what that front is going to do, obviously, is it's going to lock in, again, that colder air. The big question becomes, just how deep is that cold air going to be as we head into Saturday? The European model, as you're going to see here, is very, very cold, not just for us, but all the way down into Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. The more, how do I want to say this? The deeper the cold air we have, the more potential we have for mainly snow out of this system as we get towards next weekend. But if that cold air is not quite as deep as what the European model is suggesting, then we start to get into that mixed bag of everything, that mixed bag mess of snow, of freezing rain, of sleet. So that's a huge piece of the puzzle we got to nail down too, is just how deep is this Arctic air going to be as this storm system moves in on Saturday. Another is going to be the track of this system. A lot of times Arctic air likes to suppress things to the south. That happens very, very frequently. And if you've got pretty deep Arctic air in place, it's no surprise, you'll see here in a minute, that this system for now has a general southern track with it, down towards Interstate 10, even, down towards the Gulf Coast, Interstate 10, Interstate 20. That kind of a track would favor mainly snow. However, we have seen it so many times. 6 days out, you got this kind of a track where it goes right down towards the Gulf Coast, which keeps us very cold, which keeps us mainly snowy. But time and time and time again, we've seen that storm track move further north to where it likes to ride right down I-40, or at least along the Kentucky-Tennessee border, which would give us just a mixed bag mess of everything. There are some models that suggest that. So if we get a further north track, that means the colder air isn't as deep either, which in turn means we get that mixed bag of everything, right? See how one thing affects the next, which affects the next? These are all the pieces we've got to figure out over the next 6 days that we just don't have the answers to right now. But the European model, it's kind of a healthy medium, I suppose, with what we have at the moment. It has that Arctic air certainly locked in right over us. For the time being, it's got that track of this storm system down towards Interstate 10, Interstate 20, down towards the Gulf Coast. And for us, it's a pretty healthy snowstorm. I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is just one idea we're looking at as we head into Saturday night and next Sunday. But again, if this system tracks north by 150 miles, 200 miles, doesn't sound like it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. Just makes that little jog to the north, goes right down I-40, maybe right down the Kentucky-Tennessee line. If it makes that sort of track, you're not going to have as deep Arctic air in place, and you're going to have more of an opportunity for a mixed bag of snow, of freezing rain, and of sleet. I will tell you, though, with that cold air, there's going to be cold air, period. We just got to figure out how deep that cold Arctic air is going to be. And that'll decide our main precipitation type, and that could decide how much of that given precipitation type we might see. So with that Arctic air looking as though it's going to be here in some capacity, I personally am not sold on the cold rain scenario anymore. I think we're going to have something wintry next weekend. We just got to figure out what and how much. But the European model, for all you snow lovers out there, is a very favorable track right now. It's a nice middle ground to where we get a good thumping of snow. My old stomping grounds in the deep south, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, could get quite a bit of ice in this scenario, a very significant ice event for them potentially. While for us, it's largely snow. Now, there is also another wild card here, okay? Let's say this cold Arctic air is extremely deep. In other words, it's really, really cold all the way down to Montgomery, Alabama. Like, that's how far south this next push of Arctic air moves in. Remember what we said. A lot of times, cold Arctic air likes to suppress storm systems to the south. And the GFS in particular has such a strong shot of colder air, such a deep shot of colder air, that it keeps all the moisture with this system completely compressed and suppressed to the south of us, to where we don't get squat. We don't get freezing rain. We don't get sleet. We don't get snow. It tried to latch onto that idea today, and it's been holding on to it for the last couple of runs. This is the GFS model. So there's a scenario where this Arctic push is so deep that it goes way down into the south that it also suppresses this storm system way down towards the Gulf Coast, and we get nothing. So that's another idea at play. So 3 distinct scenarios, in my view, at this point. And Brian will do a much more eloquent job of explaining this tomorrow than I am right now. Your first scenario is you get a further north track along I-40 that gives us a mixed bag of everything. Second scenario is what I have here on Futurecast, which is where you have that storm track that goes right over Interstate 20 down in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, which keeps all the ice down that way and gives us mainly snow. And the third option is all of this stuff gets suppressed way down south and we get 0 heading into next weekend. My gut feeling at this point is we will trend maybe not as much snow as what you see here, but we will, at least for now, my gut feeling is we'll see mainly snow, especially if this Arctic front that moves in on Friday is deep enough. If it's deep enough to where we see 20s all the way down to Nashville and all the way down to Huntsville, we'll see mainly snow out of this. If we see temperatures in the 20s all the way down towards Birmingham and Montgomery and Atlanta, then you get into that concern where you might not see any precipitation. If you see temperatures only in the 20s up towards like Bowling Green, then you open the door for a mix of everything. So that's where we stand at this point. It's too early for accumulations. It's too early for exact timing hour by hour. But as we have talked about for weeks on the blog and in other places, this upcoming weekend has been on the board for a while. And with the colder trend looking over the data today, it was just time to go ahead and raise the flags up for an alert day for next weekend. Right now, that alert day begins Saturday evening and goes through the entire day on Sunday, but that will very likely be adjusted as we get more data and we get a better grasp of exactly what we're going to be dealing with heading into next weekend. But I think the European model, at least for now, when you look at all the data we have, I think it's a good middle ground for what may be on the way, which would give us a mainly snow scenario. But that can still change and will likely still be adjusted in the days to come. All right. You notice most of this moves out by this time next Sunday night. And we quiet things down, at least briefly, once that storm moves out. So that's where we are at this point. I'll pop up the 10-day. I know a lot of you have questions, so I'll run through a few of those. You see the alert day for next weekend right now, Saturday evening into Sunday. And it's cold, guys. I mean, this cold air is not going anywhere for a while. It is absolutely going to stay cold through the rest of January. It will likely stay cold in the first part of February, too. So it's cold sunshine tomorrow for the holiday, and for Tuesday, small wintry mix potential Wednesday. Doesn't look like a big deal. And then obviously we'll focus on next weekend a lot in the days to come. All right. Now we will roll through some of your comments. All right. Here we go. Let's see. Sir Kodo51 on YouTube. Models keep looking crazy for next Saturday, right? We just kind of looked at it. The bust potential is there. It is there, but it's not there in the way you think it is. You know, usually in these kind of setups, you're worried about it being too warm. I don't think that's going to be an issue this go around. I think what could be an issue is this cold air is so strong, so deep, that it pushes all the way down towards the Gulf Coast, and it suppresses this wave. It suppresses this storm system way south of us, and we get nothing. We just get a bitter cold weekend. That, I think, is the greatest bust potential at this point, which is kind of different from what we're usually talking about with bust, right? Let's see. Hi, Vicky, up in North Vernon. Cold. Yes, Melanie, too cold. I agree. It's terrible. Stephanie's doing her snow dance in Bardstown. I bet a lot of you will be this week. Let's see. Hello from Finchville. Kenneth, how you doing? Heck of a whiplash winter. No kidding. Remember when it was 75 the weekend after Christmas and y'all were yelling at me for cutting into a football game because we had a tornado? Not all of you, but some of you were. Yeah, that's definitely been a whiplash for sure. Hey, Sean, hope you're good. Hi, Amy. Give us the good snow forecast. Well, again, and I know you guys sent these comments a while ago. I'm just catching up. You're not going to see any specific numbers until probably Thursday at the absolute earliest. We got a long way to go to nail down specific numbers, specific hours, specific locations. But you see a report from Wavy, a couple flakes up in Indiana as expected. But it's not very often that we can give you this much heads up on an impactful storm system. We've done it plenty of times. It just doesn't happen all the time. But I mean, it's pretty obvious. We're going to have something next weekend. There's a very good chance. The question is what and when and exactly how much. And that's all got to be pieced together as we go through this week. Joseph, is this going to be a disaster type system? I don't think so. But, if they get an ice situation further south, as a former Alabama resident, and I love Alabama, don't get me wrong. Great state, great people. But they don't know how to handle winter weather. So that it could be a major problem for folks down that way if they do wind up seeing ice. And it'll be plenty impactful here at home too, but it's not going to be where we're all like, stuck at home for 10 days or anything like that. Having said that, if we do get snow, it's not going anywhere. We'll just have to find our way to get back out into the world. Hopefully get the roads cleared up. Let's see. Hi, Mimi's Jewelry Box on YouTube, or Facebook rather. Concerned about Tuesday wind chills for kids at the bus stop. We'll touch on that. Here you go. So these are the actual temperatures Tuesday morning. Single digits to around 10. I got a low of 10 in Louisville. Most of our Kentucky counties will be around 10. When you factor in that wind chill, it'll be very similar to what we have tomorrow morning. Thankfully, no school tomorrow for the holiday. But what we have tomorrow morning will be very, very similar to what we have Tuesday morning, with wind chills in the single digits by and large, and maybe near zero in a few spots. In fact, there's been a decent signal for a bit where we might have sub-zero wind chills kind of in this area I'm trying to draw out here. So from Lexington out towards or up towards Shelbyville, LaGrange, that part of Kentucky, and potentially up towards Bedford and North Vernon. So there could be some wind chills near or just below zero. Everybody will have wind chills in the single digits Tuesday morning, no doubt. So definitely want to make sure those kids are not at the bus stop too terribly long. If at all, please just let them hang out in the car or the house and wait on the bus to come by and get them. So that will be something we need to keep an eye on Tuesday morning for sure. Of course, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but a lot of school districts on Tuesday are going to be on a delayed start in Indiana because of the national championship tomorrow night, which is wild. But there are some school districts already operating on a delay Tuesday morning. And whether it's for the game or if it's for the cold, there could be more delays that come up for Tuesday. Thank you, Sean. It's a new tie, brand new. My first time wearing it today and tonight. I like it. I like it a lot. Got it for Christmas. So thank you. I appreciate it. Shonda, yeah, already putting up the alert days for next weekend. Again, that happens from time to time. It's not all the time, but like we said, Brian said, especially on the blog, we've had this signal for weeks. So sure enough, it's still there, no doubt. Let's see. Emily's amped up for the game tomorrow night. Hope you're well up in New Albany. Or the Knobs, I'm sorry. The Knobs. Excuse me. James, you're spot on. GFS, we talked about how it's keeping things really suppressed south. And there is going to be a lot of shifting in the days to come. Brian may have something totally different on the maps tomorrow morning from what I just showed you. So there's going to be a ton of shifting for sure in the days to come. Is it going to be a repeat of January 5th last year? I hope not. If it's a colder setup like it looks like it is now, we won't have much ice to contend with. It would just be mainly snow. But again, that's going to fluctuate a ton over the next 6 days. Dave, cold rain is possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen. If we're going to have a bus with this setup, it's not going to be because it's too warm. It's going to be because it's too cold and all the moisture gets pushed south. Could it be a cold rain? Yes, but I don't think that scenario is quite as it's not quite as much of a risk as it was, say, last night when we were having our conversation. So there you go. Marquise doesn't like that I'm monologuing. Is that even a word? I'll say what I always say on these blogs. These are not designed to be 2-minute weather hits like on TV. They're designed to be long conversations that last 20, maybe 30 minutes or more. So that's too long for you. Sorry. There's that. Moving on. Ashley, can we just skip winter and get spring here? I'm with you. I'm tired of it. Let's see. David, any agreement with the models? Well, there's agreement that for now it's kind of that southern track down where the storm system or the center of the storm system goes mainly south of us, which would keep it mainly snow here. But again, that's going to change a lot over the next few days. Nathan, how are we doing? Where's the cold weather advisory? We don't meet criteria. It's cold, right? But when you're talking about cold weather advisories, you're looking for those wind chills 10 below or lower. And that is not in the forecast at this time. So I don't anticipate cold weather advisories, maybe Tuesday morning, perhaps, but I don't expect to see those at this point. But it's still going to be plenty cold, for sure. Amy, good idea. Everybody just exhale way down south. We all do it together. We can keep the ice out of here and just have snow. Love it. I don't have the matrix with me. I forgot. I meant to put it in and I forgot, James. I apologize. Brian will have an updated one tomorrow. I can guarantee you that. Let's see. Bear with me here. A lot of comments next. A lot of you are curious, understandably. So forgive me for the quiet moments while I read them. Hello, Buttered Bliss Bakery on Facebook. Appreciate y'all watching. When will we know more about Saturday evening? We've got a vendor event, and very concerned, obviously, about what might be on the way. So I think by Thursday, and I know that's 4 days away. I know the anticipation is going to stress us all out, right? But I think by Thursday, we will have more hard set numbers when it comes to potential accumulations. We'll have a really good idea of the timing of this storm system by then, once we start to get more high resolution data, more specific data that we can look at on the map. So hopefully by Thursday, we'll be able to start to give you more of those specifics that can hopefully help you to make decisions regarding that event you guys have on Saturday. Hopefully y'all can be able to get that in without any problems, but definitely pay close attention to the changes throughout the week. Tanya, appreciate you coming by as always. We'll try, Chris, keep these snowmakers coming. I mean, like I said, this cold air is not going anywhere, so there will be more opportunities. Courtney, yes, the cold is causing a lot of headaches. In fact, I'm starting to feel one tonight. Let's see. Cameron, good question here about the euro, which I will pop back up here. I know we've been sitting on the 10-day for a minute. So could the euro potentially be something that has enough moisture to where we get some higher end snow totals? And the answer is yes. Will those higher end snow totals be everywhere? Not necessarily. But there could be some rather substantial snow amounts if this scenario were to play out. That is very, very possible. But again, we're 4 days away from a snowfall map, in my view. So we got a long way to go. So that's where we stand there. Yes, bring in your pets the next couple of nights. Please, please, please. Angie, is this going to be like 94? I don't think so. I do not believe so. Which, by the way, that was 32 years ago tonight, or today. We had that low temperature here in Louisville of -16, which is still wild to think about. 32 years. Good question, Chloe. What do we mean when we're talking about alert days? So we call alert days here at Wave just to give you guys a heads up that some sort of storm system or some sort of weather is going to impact your life over the next 10 days. Contrary to what you might see, Chloe, on the Facebook comments from the naysayers out there, from the haters, we do not do it for hype. We do not do it for ratings. We do not do it for money. We do it to keep you guys safe because at the end of the day, that's our job. Some other stations in town might do it for hype and ratings and money, but we don't. We do it because we're meteorologists and it's our job to keep you guys safe. So when you see alert days here at Wave, that means you're seeing a chance for a storm system that could really impact your daily life. We don't issue alert days just because it's raining outside. Otherwise, we'd have alert days every other day. It's only for those higher end threats or higher impact situations where we turn our 10-day earliest alert red, just give you that first alert that there could be some trouble on the horizon. So that's what we mean with those alert days. Good question. Gerald, thank you for the kind words, sir. I appreciate it. We'll go through a few more comments and then we'll call it a night. I know we've been here for a while. Let's see here. Oh, the old Twix index. Yeah, it might make a comeback. We'll see. I'll defer to Mr. Good on that. All right. Snow on Wednesday, maybe a little, maybe a little. There might be some light accumulations. Wednesday system is not, it's not off the charts at all. It might be kind of just a yucky day where it's snowing and then it's raining and then it's snowing and then it's a little bit of both. Just kind of that will truly be a mixed bag on Wednesday, but it doesn't look like at this time, it does not look like a major issue, but we'll watch the trends, obviously. What is our live schedule going to be like this week? I'm not totally sure. I'll be back Friday morning on TV. That's the next time you'll see me again after tonight. But I'm sure we'll have, especially towards the end of the week, we'll have extra live updates here on the digital side for you guys as we get closer. So stay tuned on that. Obviously, Brian will do Snow Talk for sure. Austin, quieter pattern after next weekend? Not really. Not really. It's just once we get past next weekend, I don't think the pattern will feature, at least temporarily, it won't feature bigger storms, but it will feature these more subtle waves that could bring some light snow from time to time. Can it be too cold to snow? Yes. And that's kind of the bust scenario that we were talking about earlier that is on the table. It's not a slam dunk that it happens, but if this air is cold enough and it's really cold way down south, like Montgomery, Alabama south, this system can be completely shoved to the south with it. So that is a trend we'll have to keep an eye on. Still waiting for the Brian Good, Carson Meredith collab. It might happen. One day it might happen. We'll see. We'll see. So, all right, guys, that's all I got for tonight. Hopefully all of that made sense. We are very early in the ball game on this. We're still in the first quarter. So a long way to go when it comes to figuring out just exactly how this is going to play out. Just know that we've got fairly high confidence there will be some sort of winter weather next weekend, and it will cause some problems. The question is how much, what type, and more specifically, when towards next weekend. Generally, we're looking at Saturday evening into next Sunday, but obviously that will be fine-tuned over the next 5 or 6 days. All right, that's it for now, guys. We will be back on with Wave News at some point during the 11 o'clock hour tonight. You guys know how Sunday Night Football works, so I'll just leave it at that. But at some point during the 11 o'clock hour tonight, we will have Wave News at 11 on the old school TV. So if you're still awake, we invite you to tune in. And Brian will be here with Snow Talk in the morning and every morning this week as we keep a close eye on what lies ahead next weekend. If you don't see me again tonight on the news, you will see me again on Friday. Maybe we can do a collab with Brian. We'll see. We'll see. That's it for now, though, guys. Appreciate y'all watching, and I will catch you all later. Take care.